All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another three count with Gino. Today we're going to be breaking down NXT Vengeance Day, which is happening live February the 16th. It is NXT's latest pay per view. We have one, two, three, four, five title matches, and one random match. Ethan Page and Javon Evans. I think we're going to start the show off Fallon Henley versus Stephanie Vancouver, or Vanker, however you say it, or Vancouver. Mike Rome says it a lot better than I do. Toddy's excited as well. She's running around. She keeps hearing the name Stephanie Vancouver. Um, I love Fallon Henley. I've loved Fallon Henley for a long time. I like the Fatal Influence group. I think they're working a lot better than PFC did or anything else. I think they're. I like them as a stable. Kind of reminds me of a different version of Toxic Influence or Toxic Influence. Excuse me. Um, but clearly, you know who's winning the belt because I want Stephanie Vancouver versus Julia. Julia is the NXT Women's Champion. Stephanie Vancouver is only lost to one person, that being Shotzi Blackheart due to Tatum Paxley, or sorry, not Tatum Paxley, Fallon Henley. Stephanie Vancouver just ran through the rest of Fatal Influence yesterday, or on Wednesday, sorry. Um, it's a decent title run for the North American champion, second ever one in Fallon Henley, and she's got two of the three belts NXT has. She'll never become women's champion there, not good enough. She's a great mid carder. She's like NXT version of Chelsea Green. Stephanie Vancouver is an absolute utter superstar. She has written all over. I don't see her lasting much longer in NXT, but she will have these two belts before it's said and done. Um, I think that was an easy prediction, wasn't it? Stephanie Vancouver is going to become the new North American champion. Following that, we're going to have Javon Evans versus Ethan Page. You know, those stories around Ethan Page being a freaking lunatic. And he kayfabe storyline broke Javon Evans' jaw. If Javon Evans takes one more punch, his career might be over. This is not sanctioned by NXT. I think it's going to be violent. I think it's going to be bloody. I think Ethan Page is going to go attack his face the whole match. Javon Evans is going to sell like crazy, get a few shots in, fight from the underground. Um, I want to see Ethan Page win, but I don't think he's going to. I really just don't think anything of this Javon Evans kid, to be honest. Also, yes, brand new look for this week for three count with Gino. The beard's gone, the hair's gone. Decided to change it up a little bit. But yeah, like I said, Ethan Page, I want to win, but if Logic Betting Man knows, I think they think they're all Javon Evans because he's bouncy. Um, so yep, I think we're gonna have Ethan Page lose for a second straight pay per view. Following that, Fraxium versus Inamura and Briggs. And I like Inamura, I like Briggs. These guys remind me a lot of Hanson and Blackjack Mulligan are one of them. Those guys back in the day, the throwbacks. But Fraxium has it. Unless they're sending Fraxium to the main roster. I don't know if they're going to lose those titles yet because there's other teams I thought they were. Excuse me, guys. Lost them to by now. I know they're supposed to have a match with the Hardys. I can't remember if they've had it or not yet. Um, this one's hard. This one's very hard. I like both teams. I just don't think Inamura and Briggs have got enough exposure. And Fraxium, which is Nathan Frazier and Axiom, have pretty much carried NXT since a lot of the main stars have gone. They're a fun tag team. They're an enjoyable tag team. They're very charismatic. They're very, very, very good in the ring. They're very innovative. So people along the just coming out of a deep freeze here in Vancouver. Um, oof, this is a weird one, a hard, tough one to pick. I think we're gonna keep the titles on the champs right now because we're gonna have one title change, one title change. I think there might only be one title change on this whole pay-per-view. Following that, we're gonna have Julia versus Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade versus Bailey. Eliminate this right now. Bailey's not winning the title. Roxanne Perez is not winning the title. Does Stephanie Vancouver lose the belt on her very first defense? That wouldn't make sense. Is Cora Jade taking another pin? I hope not, because she's challenging Master Slamovich for that TNA title tune. And why has Cora Jade never been able to get past tag team title status in WWE's eyes? This girl is so incredibly good. I think her and Roxanne Perez should be out of NXT by now. They're both just very good. I think Cora's a better heel. Roxanne's a better babyface. This is just like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I think this is Shawn Michaels' version of Ciampa and Gargano, except they're females. And for those of you who don't know, apparently Triple H was in tears due to the reaction of Gargano and Ciampa that were at Royal Rumble because people just don't care, and those are his guys. Apparently, like he loves those guys. Um, sorry, I got sidetracked there for a second. So we're saying Roxanne's not going to win. We're saying Bailey's not going to win. I kind of hope Cora doesn't take the pin. At least one thing. Julia's not losing the belt. Not yet, at least. Unless they're sending her to the main roster already. If she had better English, she'd be on the main roster. Same with Stephanie. Um, ah, who's taking the pin? Is it Bailey or is it Roxanne? I mean, Roxanne has an Elimination Chamber match this Monday versus Raquel Rodriguez. Is she going to take two pins in a row? Bailey just get pinned by Cora. And I said Stephanie Vancouver is not. I mean, sorry, not Stephanie. Julia is not getting pinned. She's not losing the belt yet. The only way I see them taking this belt off of Julia already on her first defense is kind of like what they did with Trick Williams, where they had the other person in the match get pinned by one of the other people. Kind of how Ethan Page became the NXT champion by pinning Shawn Spears due to Javon Evans. What if Bailey nails Roxanne because their feud's ongoing? They'll probably fight at Mania or Chamber. Um, and Roxanne presses on the ground. Bailey goes to pin her, and Cora Jade takes out both Julia and Bailey and pins Roxanne, keeping a couple storylines going. That might work. Or Julia pins Bailey, but don't see. I just personally don't see either Cora Jade or Julia taking a pin in this match. It's been a long time in my head. I've been thinking about this match to think who's going to win. I think we've got two outcomes that could happen in this match. I'm going to take the safe bet. I think Julia's going to pin Bailey. I think Bailey can take the pins because she's the most established of the stars, but she can't take many losses because she's going into the chamber and they want her to be a threat. Then we have the main event. Oba versus A-Town Down Under, and I think this is where A-Town Down Under is going to implode because they've been teasing their breakup for a while, and they just recently brought it back up with these two just throwing shade at each other going up to the title. I think Theory and Waller turn on each other during this match, and eventually leads to them turning on each other in the main roster. But Oba's going to dominate them for most of the match. They're going to dominate Oba as a tag team and kind of see some unity. Unity! In the end, I can see Oba pinning both of them. But I think one's going to screw the other one over. And I think it's going to be Waller screwing over Theory or sacrificing Theory. Sorry, guys. This one's weird for me to think about, just like the previous match. But I don't see Oba losing on his first or his second defense. I'm also kind of surprised they don't have the Family Union versus Shawn Spears as a new stable, but I think that story's just too new yet. And they just didn't have time to fit it into the pay-per-view. I mean, they have 5 matches already on this pay-per-view. It's good enough. Um, yeah, I think Oba wins. I think he's gonna pin them both. Just because the man's extremely dominant, extremely good. Although there's another way I could see maybe them working together and screwing Alba. I mean, remember Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, won the NXT title from Braun Breaker? I mean, Alba's ready for the main roster, as far as I'm concerned. Very, very good in the ring. Extremely good on the microphone. Charismatic, believable as an actual destroyer of people. Um, you got two outcomes you can go with this match. They team up, they beat Oba, or Oba just dismantles them both. I think Oba dismantles them both. I don't think Oba's going to the main roster yet, because I don't think there's a replacement for Oba and NXT champion. They tried Trick Williams twice, and it kind of worked, and he is over. But Trick Williams just isn't good. Oh, yes, sorry. I forgot 84, but Trick Williams is also on this card as the leather strap match. This is an easy one for me. Trick Williams is going to kick Eddie Thorpe's ass. I don't think NXT thinks much of Eddie Thorpe because he's not very good, to be honest, in my opinion. They think a lot of him, but as fans of wrestling, we know that he's not that good. It'd be a good match, maybe, but it'd be a lot of botches because they're both very green, especially Trick Williams. Um, I like Trick Williams, but he's green. Sorry, guys. Yep. Sorry. There we go. Here's my predictions for next week. I completely forgot the Eddie Thorpe and the Trick Williams matches on the card because that story's kind of all over the place. It's been weird. And let's get into SmackDown and down. Excuse me, guys. Like I said, a long week. A lot of interesting things happened today on SmackDown. I'm just gonna go through it on my notes quickly here. Then I see what I got. Sorry, just fixing my computer. Joe Tessitore is off this week on assignment. So later way, I noticed it right away as soon as the show started. They had Wade Barrett doing all the talking, introducing everything, and the first thing he showed us was Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, and the three guys in the main event all arriving to the arena. The three guys in the main event being Priest, Jacob Fatu, as everyone's just calling him now, Fatu, and Braun Strowman. An interesting story all night long with Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa. Plays out weird in the main event. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Vic Joseph is actually there on SmackDown this week as Joe Tessitore is away on assignment, as they say, aka vacation. Um, so we get everybody arriving at the arena. You get Wade Barrett introducing Vic Joseph, and that is how SmackDown kicks off with Cody Rhodes. He gets a nice little promo talking about it, and he knows that he will not be fighting his buddy Jay at WrestleMania due to Jay going after Gunther, but there's still a chance of CM Punk, of what's in that chamber match there? John Cena, Damian Priest. We'll get right to that. Unfortunately, Jacob Fatu is not in it. There's a chance Seth Rollins will be in it. There's one other guy I'm missing. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna look up who's in the Elimination Chamber. This is pissing me off right now. Sorry, guys. I'll talk. But anyways, yes, Cody. Oh, Drew McIntyre. I didn't even have to look it up. I was like, who am I missing? Who am I missing? Drew McIntyre's ready to beat Sami Zayn. Or no, LA Knight and Jimmy. Jay, sorry. No, Jimmy. I just did the Drew McIntyre thing. And that hint is Drew McIntyre's fighting Jimmy Uso next week. Sorry, I was about to call him Jay again, but it's Jimmy. He just says, and Drew McIntyre. It's like, Drew McIntyre cuts somebody. He's like, oh, I'm just Andrew McIntyre. The other guy's your friend. The other guy's was your friend. The other guy's a legend. And I'm just Drew McIntyre. Kind of pisses him off a little bit. Solo Sikoa comes out. They have a nice little face off. Part of me kind of wanted Solo versus Drew at Mania, but that's not going to happen. And we'll talk about why that's not going to happen later on. But they have a nice little square off. Drew leaves the ring, and Cody and Cody and Jacob Fatu have their little stare down, and then Solo appears, and Jacob looks at me and says, "You can get to him afterwards. I need to take care of family business first." Leaves. Following that, we have our first match of the night, which is Chelsea Green versus Naomi for the Elimination Chamber for the women. Little hint here, I think we're going to have a bit of a feud heading into this Elimination Chamber match between two of the participants. And we'll talk about why that is later on in the show. But we had Naomi versus Chelsea Green. Very good match. I think there was a bit of a botch where Chelsea tried to do that rolling in pretty how she won the United States title. And also shout out to Piper Niven. If you haven't seen what she was wearing tonight on SmackDown, go check it out. Hervis is in full gear. Her secret Hervis. And Chelsea Green rocking the Wonder Woman gear again, or Miss America, whatever you want to call it. At one point, Naomi gave her a wedgie for some reason before hitting the Heat Seeker. I'm gonna go on a little rant right here. I don't think the Heat Seeker is a transition move like Naomi uses it. It's goddamn trap pile driver with your legs through the ropes. That's a finisher. Sorry, that's that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Hmm. I'm gonna save my rant for later on in the week, maybe after the pay-per-view on Saturday. Um, but yes, we had Naomi defeating Chelsea Green after Chelsea Green was unable to hit her rolling on Purdue. Naomi hit the split-legged moonsault, wins. So Naomi is in the Elimination Chamber. So in the Women's Elimination Chamber, we have Alexa Bliss, Naomi, Bianca Belair, um, Liv Morgan, no, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Bailey, and the winner of sorry guys, wrong blank there. Bailey's in it, and the winner of Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. I think it's going to be Roxanne Perez. I do not see Raquel Rodriguez getting the Elimination Chamber solely because she does not have the talent or the star ability to compete with the rest of the women in that match. That's my personal opinion. We also got Trish Stratus ringside. You knew that was going to play in later on in the night, but she says she's going to be at she was going to be at Elimination Chamber just in the crowd minding her own business. You knew that was never going to happen. She was planted there for a reason. And that reason, well, we knew that we had Nia Jax versus Tiffany later in the night for the women's championship, so you kind of knew that was going to play into it. It's a little foreshadowing. We also got our second induction to the Hall of Fame, and people that are hating on the internet can go fuck themselves. Sorry. Uh, Michelle McCool is one of the reasons we have the women's wrestling the way it is now. Yes, she was a Divas champion, but a lot of her matches had to get refilmed because people said it looked way too real compared to a lot of what the guys were doing and stuff like that. And she took a lot of heat for being the Undertaker's girlfriend. But Michelle McCool was very, very, very talented and very ahead of her time. Unfortunately, stuck in the Divas era where they weren't allowed to do a lot. But Michelle McCool is probably one of the most talented girls you'd see in the ring for that time. Well deserving of her spot in the Hall of Fame, in my personal opinion. I think is a little past due compared to some of the girls that are in there now. And the fact there's a lot of celebrities that got in there before her that should not be in there, period. Like, what the hell is Drew Carey doing in the Wrestling Hall of Fame? What the fuck is Kid Rock doing in the Wrestling Hall of Fame? I'm sorry, there's a lot of people. Pete Rose can't ever get into a Baseball Hall of Fame, but at least he's in a Wrestling Hall of Fame. I'm not a baseball fan, and that's just kind of being sarcastic because Michelle McCool should have been there before him. Michelle McCool is one of the all-time best, my personal opinion, female wrestlers of the last 10, 15 years, and not just saying that because she's the Undertaker's wife. Go back and look at the things she was doing. That girl was incredible. She was doing goddamn styles clashes, for Christ's sake. They were just calling it the Faith Baker back then. If you don't believe me, go back and watch. The only thing I'll say I did not care for with Michelle McCool was the Piggy James segment stuff, skit. That was low class. I know she probably didn't want to do it. But when you have a job to do, you got to keep your job. You got to do what the boss says. The only thing that ever bugged me about Michelle McCool was the Piggy James stuff that she did with Lay Cool. Really, really bad. But in general, Lay Cool was extremely enjoyable. Um, so I guess in a roundabout way, I'm saying congratulations to Michelle McCool. You're in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, that. Sami Zayn gets a promo from what looks like a hospital bed or his bedroom, talking about his neck being jacked up and he was very close to being paralyzed, and how he's asked Kevin Owens how he's not a real friend when he was there asking for help for Kevin was getting beat up and stuff. He's like, what are you, like, I didn't say that you think I'm not a real friend because I didn't push Cody off the ladder for you to win a match. You think friendship is more than a match. Great promo. I didn't do much justice. If you want to go see it, go on YouTube or his X, or even go on WWE doc or sorry, not WWE.com, Netflix, and find your way through the show. It's a great SmackDown all in general, but you can find your way through that. It's about half an hour into the show they show it, and it's a very, very good heartfelt promo. Sami Zayn is the most lovable babyface in a long. I think he's a better babyface than Cody Rhodes could ever be. Why WWE has not put the title on the suit and rode the rocket strap with him is beyond me. Maybe they have their reasons. That's why I'm not a booker or in wrestling, but he's just the most likable underdog person you could ever meet. Great promo. Makes you believable, makes you believe this guy actually truly cares about Kevin Owens still, whereas Kevin Owens has completely and utterly lost his mind for the promo he cuts next. He even challenges Sami Zayn to come see him at Elimination Chamber, clear or not, because he wants to end it where they started it in Canada. So we're getting Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for sure at Mania. The Motor City Machine Guns beat Legado and Phantasma in a feud that makes no sense whatsoever. We had no listen, sorry, Electra, because she's gone now from the company, and the former member of the LWO, whose name I cannot remember right now because he doesn't get used very much on TV, not on the show either. Following out of nowhere, we had a match between the Miz and LA Knight. Miz hasn't had a match on TV in weeks, and he was in a feud with the Wyatt Six that WWE seems to want you to forget, and now he's either in a partnership with Andrade or mentorship, or I don't know what the hell is going on, or even with Carmelo Hayes. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but a couple great lines by both. And if you haven't seen The Miz attempting to fake cry, it's probably one of the best things you'll see in a long time. It's cringy but hilarious. Decent match between the two. It's for number one contendership to Shinsuke's United States Championship. I don't want them to take the title off of Shinsuke yet, but I know you're going to give it back to LA Knight. And can I be honest with you guys? I think the kind of vibe around LA Knight's kind of worn out a little bit, at least on me. Don't get me wrong, the guy's entertaining as hell and he's funny, but the hype around the guy's gone for me a little bit. Solely because of all the losses he's taken more recently. And just, I like the fact they did the message he did, and you could tell it meant something to him. And that's probably where I'm going to put the belt back on him. If you don't know what message I'm talking about, check out my Instagram. It's on my highlights. I had something like that for a long time because, like I said, I'm a dude who is a mental health person, and at one point was thinking about ending everything. So what he said rang tough with me and rang true. But decent match. Mrs. hated on for no reason whatsoever. LA Knight eventually wins with the BFT, and Carmelo Hayes runs into Miz backstage, as does Andrade. Andrade makes fun of the Miz. Carmelo Hayes thinks that the Miz and him should team up and take on Andrade and LA Knight. I hate that. That'd be a fun match. Good little kickoff show to an elimination chamber, or even on the chamber itself. Following that, we had our first interaction in about 2 months between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu and Tamatonga, and Solo pretty much saying he can't face them since he won the Wheel of Fellow. He feels like a failure, and he wants for Jacob to bring the title back to the family so that the family will have something to celebrate, and he's going to do that later tonight, starting with winning the chamber. Little foreshadowing right then, you kind of knew it was going to happen. And following that, we had Nick Aldis trying to run a TV to show Naomi and Bianca, who attacked Cora. Sorry, not Cora. Jade Cargill. And you could tell at first he was having trouble with it because you'd hear nothing, and you could hear something, but you couldn't see anything, and then he pushes another button and it works, and you can see out of the corner of the TV, Raquel. Sorry, excuse me, guys. Excuse me, guys. Raquel and Liv leaving the scene. He says he doesn't know who sent this in because it's anonymous and it came from somebody in the cell phone camera. Something could even be a fan. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of look CJI'd in Raquel and Liv. I think, to be honest with you guys, I think both Naomi and Bianca did it. They both said they're going to Raw to confront Liv and Naomi. Actually, Liv and Raquel. So I think Bianca's going to turn on Naomi at Raw, or Bianca's going to turn on Naomi. One of the two. We'll find out at Family Day in Vancouver. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jade comes out and costs them the belts at the same time. They both just turn heel, and Jade tries to fight them both and gets her ass kicked. My personal opinion. And we have Jade versus Naomi versus Bianca match at Mania. We had a backstage segment between Alexa Bliss and Naomi or Naya, sorry, and Candice. Alexa Bliss takes a nice little shot at Candice after the match last week. Once again, we're teasing that Alexa Bliss will be joining the Wyatt Six as the Wyatt Six code is shown with Alexa Bliss, and in the little snippets you can see highlights of Alexa Bliss's past with Bray and the Wyatts in general. And Uncle Howdy's in one of the pictures, so so Bo's not going anywhere, guys. Um, then it was time for I want to call her Naomi, Naya versus Tiffy, and you knew right away that Naya was not going to win this match due to the fact that she kicked Tiffy's ass for about 70 to 80 to 90% of this match. Tiffy sold very well, kept selling at her ribs and her stomach, like her stomach got beat in and her ribs. Nia almost got the annihilator a few times. Tiffy got a few new cool moves and even showed off a little bit of power by spine busting Nia. And she was going to go hit the most pretty moonsault ever, the most beautiful moonsault ever. Candice stopped it. She gets then Tiffy got destroyed after the bell, which kind of surprised me. I think that was going to happen. Trish tries to make the save. She gets obliterated. And then we had the announcement everyone even saw in my short for YouTube, the worst kept secret in wrestling. We have Charlotte Flair versus Tiffy at WrestleMania, and the fact that Tiffany just not being able to move and listen and roll around in the ring while Charlotte trash talked her and sold the match. Please, please, please don't do to Tiffy what they did to Rhea, where they took the belt off of Rhea. Charlotte doesn't need the belt. Charlotte's a goddamn megastar. You can say the same thing about Tiffy, but I think Tiffy just deserves a long run just through the fact that, listen to this crazy stat, guys. She has been in WWE for 3.5 years. She went from having a stupid feud, like a weird feud where she was a servant for somebody being Fallon Henley. Um, she had a few matches nobody cared about. She eventually got to the women's championship. She actually beat Lyra Valkyria for the women's championship in NXT after Roxanne Perez was injured. Had a lot of bangers in NXT. Eventually dropped the belt to Becky Lynch. Was on the main roster within a year and a half of being on the main roster, is the women's champion. So within 3.5 years of being hired by WWE, she's held two of their most prestigious belts: the NXT Women's Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship. This girl's been wrestling for 4 years, and she already has two belts. It takes most girls half their career to get a belt. Just think about that. But like I said, brilliant, great match. A rarity in an Nia match where you're going to hear this as awesome chants. I think most of it was due to the fact that Tiffy was selling her ass off for Nia. And surprisingly, Candice didn't get involved to the end, which made me think the whole time with Candice getting involved, everyone's just going to go to DQ because I don't think they wanted Nia to ever lose. And I don't think they wanted Tiffy to ever lose either. And you could kind of tell it was leading to that match with Tiffy and Trishy, as they called themselves backstage, versus Nia and Candice at Elimination Chamber. Of course, they were going to do this. Trish is home. And there's somebody that's seen Trish wrestle in the last 5-6 years. I saw it at SummerSlam 1999 or 2019. Sorry, the girl is still absolutely incredible. And anyone that's a shit on Trish can go to fucking hell. Like I've said repeatedly, I've met her once or twice. She's one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life. Like I said, good match. This is an awesome chance, which is kind of crazy. You don't usually get that in a Nia match. And Nia actually probably say it's one of Nia's best matches I've seen in a long, long time. The chemistry is there between these two. It ends in a DQ, so Nia's not getting near that belt for a while. Following that, we had our main event, which was Priest versus Strowman versus, they're just calling him Fat Two at this point, apparently, not Jacob. They dropped the Jacob part. Very, very good match. Meaty man, slapping man meat. They kind of teased, well, not teased, kind of hinted towards the fact the way the match finished, where Cody comes out, Tama comes out, Solo comes out, Solo hits Braun with the spread, with the spike. Jacob hits the moonsault, and for some reason didn't even bother trying to pin him because Cody's music hits. He goes after Solo. Tama tries to help Solo. Solo spikes Tama, and you can see Jacob only sees Solo spiking Tama by accident. Snaps, tries to go after Solo. Cody takes out Solo. Priest takes out Jacob Fatu on the outside goes back in, hits Braun Strowman with the South of Heaven chokeslam. Pretty much the chokeslam to hell, just renamed. And Damian Priest is going to the Elimination Chamber. They don't want Jacob losing matches big. They don't. Jacob is ready for the title anytime they want to give it to him. He could main event any WrestleMania as far as I'm concerned at this point. The dude's an absolute superstar and incredible in the ring. I just don't think they want to give us Jacob versus Cody yet, or Jacob versus anything yet. I think they're still trying to get Solo over, and I guess they're trying to make Solo a face at this point. I don't know why. We may get Jacob and Solo at what's it called, Chamber. Jacob and Solo's not a WrestleMania match. As much as they probably want to think it is and think it should be, it's not. Sorry. And this is like Jacob and Tama versus Solo and The Rock. Still kind of weird WrestleMania match. Doesn't make any sense. Because you figure they want The Rock versus Roman. But SmackDown goes off the air with Cody and Damian Priest shaking hands. So we have one spot left. And the men's Elimination Chamber match, that's going to happen on Monday with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. So Seth Rollins will go to the Chamber. Finn Balor doesn't win fuck all. And I think this is when the Judgment Day is going to turn on Balor. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my predictions. Take a look, take a pick for yourself. And as far as SmackDown, I think it was a very SmackDown, my opinion, hit it out of the park again. Very good show. Shouldn't be 3 hours, and I'm glad it's kind of be ending 3 hours at the end of this month, as I said. It's a good 2.5 hour show like Raw's now become. 3 hours is a bit too long because it seems like it drags on at points, in my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with me on that. And we'll talk to you guys in a few days. All right, bye.